Isaac Newton was a liar. Isaac Newton, this so-called astronomer, was credited for discovering the 3 laws of motion. Law number 1, an object will not change its motion unless a force acts on it, which basically means that something will only move if something else moves it. Doesn't that just blow your mind? Bruh. Law number 2, the force of an object is equal to the mass times its acceleration. I don't know how he figured that out. I don't know what that one means. Law number 3, when objects interact, they apply forces to each other of equal magnitude and opposite direction, which basically means that when you push something in one direction, it will move it that amount in that direction. Isaac Newton also claims to have discovered gravity. He said in his theory, Newton's law of gravitation, he stated that any particle of matter in the universe attracts any other with a force varying directly as the product of masses and inversely as the square of the distance between them. Bruh. I don't know what that means, but here's a picture of this equation he came up with, which is basically a giga-genius way of saying that if you drop something, it falls. He was also known for coming up with stupid things that didn't make any sense, like calculus. And I'm all for diversity in a community, but I believe that letters and numbers should not mix. Now, you'll see Isaac Newton had 2 strategies when coming up with his theories. Strategy number 1, he would say something so painfully obvious, but just reword it in his sciencey vocabulary. And then he would take credit for these ideas and name them stuff like the law of gravity. In strategy number 2, he would speak in this jibber-jabber that nobody would be able to understand, so nobody would be able to counteract his bullshit. Isaac Newton also had a problem with naming everything after himself. For example, he created the Newtonian telescope. Bruh. The so-called Newtonian telescope is a reflecting telescope that had a wider field of view. The eyepiece is located at the top of the telescope. So I guess that's kind of cool. Through his experiments with refractions, which is when light waves change or bend, Newton determined that the light was a composite of all the colors on the spectrum. And he asserted that light, when composed of particles, was composed of particles instead of waves, which makes the last part completely irrelevant. His methods drew sharp rebuke, which means when people don't like something, from established society member Robert Hooke. And then after Hooke told Newton that he was wrong, he went and had a mental breakdown about it. And finally, some fun facts. Isaac Newton died a virgin.